All right, listen up, man. Let's get straight into it. You read the title, right? Wherever prana flows, consciousness grows. Yes, sir. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Listen up, my guy. Wherever your prana flows will cause your consciousness to grow. And you might be wondering, okay, man, what the fuck does that even mean, bro? I've heard about the saying that wherever attention goes, energy flows. But now you out here telling me wherever my prana flows will cause my consciousness to grow. Well, I don't even know what prana is. So make that make sense. Relax. Relax. Relax, my guy. I'm going to need you to just take a deep breath. Come on, do it with me. Get yourself grounded because it's time for your boy to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. So first things first, we must come to understand along this journey that we call life is that your prana is your life force energy. Yes, sir. Let that marinate into your motherfucking mind. Let that sink into your psyche, my guy. Your prana is your life force energy. It is what animates the body and it is what activates the brain. This is the energy that is coursing through the undercurrent of everything that you see. And prana doesn't just come in one form. It comes in many different shapes, sizes, and forms. There is blood prana. There is sexual prana. There is multiple forms of prana that is coursing through your entire system right here, right now, as we speak. Your prana holds the power to alter your plane of consciousness. That's something you must keep in mind as we continue on throughout this video. Your prana holds the power, holds the potential, holds the capability to alter what plane of consciousness that you're operating on. Because in this reality that we are living in, consciousness is everything. Consciousness is everything. As you go throughout your day, as you go throughout your life, you're gonna have different experiences throughout this material existence. You might be mad one day, you might be sad one day, you might be happy the other day, you might be super ecstatic and euphoric the day after. That is all dependent on what plane of consciousness that you're operating under. Some people can voluntarily and independently alter and shift their planes of consciousness by themselves, while most of the masses of society are basically slaves to whatever the system pulls the strings on to their consciousness and keeps them in that plane. Most people are unaware about this idea of consciousness. Most people are unaware that the fact that they have the power by using their prana to alter what plane of consciousness that they're on. You don't have to be stuck in the whims of the external world, making you sad one day, making you happy one day, making you mad the other day. You can actually learn how to direct your prana in specific planes to cause your consciousness to grow in that way. Because again, read the title of this video, wherever your prana flows, consciousness grows. So think about it like this. If you are angry, you focus on every motherfucking thing that makes you angry. This fucking noise, the birds chirping, the leaves don't look as good. You're just pissed off and everything within your external surrounding is being hyper fixated towards finding the things that make you mad because you're under that state of consciousness of anger. You see, anger is a byproduct of the plane of consciousness that you're on. And every single one of your emotions is the energy, aka your prana, in motion within that plane of consciousness. Your consciousness is the key to alter your reality. And your prana is the key to shift whatever plane of consciousness that you're in. You see how we're breaking it down piece by piece, layer by layer? Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down, my boy? When you learn how to use the power of your prana, then you can learn how to alter the plane of consciousness. Then you can learn how to alter your perspective. And as a whole, you can learn how to shift your reality. That is what most people don't get. most people don't understand. A lot of people, even when it comes to spiritual topics, when it comes to shifting their reality, they all go into the manifestation, law of attraction, law of assumption, bullshit, without understanding, better yet, understanding the inner workings of prana and the planes of consciousness. You see, within the Eastern Aryan traditions, there is the whole system of consciousness that is broken down into the chakra scale. Broken down within your spine, because your spine is the central axis, the central column of what? Consciousness. Your nervous system runs through your spine, and your brain is a part of the nervous system. The way you perceive life depends on where you're at within the spine. And again, when you hear about the word chakras, if you were anything like me, you probably thought that was woo-woo, wah-wah, bullshit, new age spiritual nonsense. But if you look at the deeper essence of where it originated from, you can tell right away that this is a spiritual science of consciousness. How to alter consciousness, how to understand consciousness, and use the inner workings of consciousness to your advantage. It's like learning the mechanisms of a car. You know how the pistons start churning, how the gas, the oil is combusting to keep that car moving. That is the same idea. The same gears are turning within your spine to make you react and behave in certain ways of consciousness depending on where your prana is flowing towards. So you see, within the chakra system, there are 7 main planes of consciousness, starting from the Muladhara, the root chakra, going to the Svadhisthana, the sacral, going into the Manipura, the solar, going into the Anahata, the heart, going into the Vishuddhi, the throat, and up to the Ajna, the third eye, and finishing off at the Sahasrara, the crown. These are the 7 planes of consciousness. There are many intermediary planes of consciousness in between them, but that's too in-depth, and that's another topic for another day. You dig what I'm saying? The 7 main planes of consciousness is where your focus should be on. These are basically, bringing an analogy with the car, these are the different gears. If you ever driven a stick shift car, a manual car, you can shift the gears to shift the way the car is operating. If you are at a stop, you have to shift your car into first gear to get it moving, because it's going from a standstill to at least 10, 15 miles an hour. Then it can't go any further than that. It's going to start redlining the engine. That gear can only go to that maximum miles per hour. Then you shift it into second. Then you drive a little bit further and go a little bit faster. Then you can shift it into third. Oh wow, there's another stop. Bring it back into the neutral, and then bring it back into the stop. Boom, put it back into first gear. Hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting down when it comes to driving a stick shift, a manual car. If you guys already know how that works, this is exactly how your consciousness works. But I'm gonna let you know right now, the world that we are living in right now, the matrix, the Maya, the illusion, the society as a whole, they are the ones shifting your gears for you. Matter of fact, you're in the passenger seat of your own car, and they're the ones shifting the gears and driving where your car, aka your body, is going. And it's steering your mind, aka the steering wheel, which is your mind, wherever it wants to go. You see, the world is using your prana against you, using your life force energy against you. It's draining you from it. It is siphoning it away. It is pulling it towards the planes of consciousness that they want to keep you stuck under. If they want to make your whole world kind of jaded in a specific manner, they're going to make sure that they're going to pull your prana into those planes of consciousness so you never see anything beyond that. Because imagine we put a lid on your consciousness, on your spine. You only see the world within these specific realms. You only see the world in a specific way. And what are the main ways they want to keep you stuck in? They want to keep you stuck in the cycle of survival, sex, and status. Survival, sensuality, and status. They want to keep you stuck in that wheel, in that cycle, in those planes of consciousness. And how do they do that? They flow your prana down to the lower 3 planes, the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, and the Svadhisthana, as well as the Manipura. So those planes of consciousness, imagine right now that I give you a pair of glasses that were all red. Everything that you see right now is all red. The way you view reality is all red. Imagine I give you an orange pair of glasses. Everything that you see in reality is all orange. Now I give you a yellow pair of glasses. Everything is all yellow. The reality that you are operating under is being altered by that plane of consciousness, by those sunglasses lens. But we're not just talking about colors up in this bitch. We're talking about literal ways that you are behaving. If you are stuck in the Muladhara, all your prana is going there by other external influences. You're going to be thinking about what? Survival, 24/7. You're going to be stuck in what? Fight or flight mode. If you're stuck in the Svadhisthana chakra, all you're going to be thinking about is sensuality. Not just sexuality, but sensuality. You're going to be looking for ways to please the ego, please the brain, please the body. Before that, it was just preserving the ego, preserving the body in the Muladhara, survival. Now you're looking at, stimulating your senses. First, it was surviving and making sure that your senses get to see another day. And then the other realm, the Manipura chakra, when all of these planes of consciousness are maladjusted, makes you focus, hyperfixate on status. Pumping up the ego, powering up the ego. What can I do within this material world so people look at me, I get external validation, all that shit. They want to keep you stuck there. Take a good look around you. What are most people focused on in today's world? Survival, sex, status. Because why? Their consciousness is stuck in those planes. And let's go another deeper level. Why is their consciousness stuck in those planes? Because again, where prana flows, say it with me, consciousness grows. Imagine every one of these planes of consciousness basically like a mouth to feed. If you don't feed those higher planes of consciousness and all your prana is being fed to the lower planes of consciousness, you're going to operate from the lower states of existence. And when I say lower, I'm not trying to say that survival is evil or bad, sex and sensuality is evil or bad, or status is evil or bad. This is not some fucking, Abrahamic faith tradition that I'm trying to speak to you guys, when it comes to you're a sinner, you must repent, this, and that, none of that bull crap. But when you're stuck in those planes, that's when you don't realize the full scope of your essence as well as the full scope of existence. Come on, man, that's a bar, write it down. You don't get the full scope of your own internal essence, and you don't get the full scope of the external existence that we're living on right now. You're going to be stuck chasing after dopamine in this hamster wheel of hedonism, survival, sex, status, money, cars, clothes, and hoes, that keeps you in this consumeristic cycle that pulls you further and further and further away from what actually is going to bring you fulfillment, what's actually going to bring you true joy, what's actually going to bring you true bliss, because you don't know about yourself. You are stuck living in a state where you're basically a slave to these senses, a slave to survival, a slave to status, because all your prana is being fed over there. The other four mouths, the other four planes are getting no prana, are getting no food. They're getting malnourished. Imagine you're training your body, your physique, and you never train your back muscles. You always train your chest, always train your shoulders, always train your triceps, your pushing muscles. You're going to create imbalances and you're going to cause issues to your body as a whole. Well, the same rules can be applied to the different planes of consciousness. However, in this case, we're not training. We are giving the stimulation through our prana. And again, every single plane of consciousness can generate its own source of prana and also gets fed a specific source of prana. But most people, their prana, their life force is being pulled down towards the pursuits of survival, sex, and status, which causes their consciousness to grow more and more and more about hyperfixating over those things. You don't believe that there's anything beyond just survival, sex, and status, stimulation of the senses. You don't know who you truly are beyond the brain and body, because your consciousness, when it's having all this prana being pulled down to its lower planes, that is the planes that is associated with this material form, with the flesh and bones, with the blood, with your body, which is, again, nothing wrong with that, but there is a deeper essence to the self. You see, the self can be broken down into three parts: the brain, the body, and the soul. Most people have no connection to the soul in today's day and age that we're living in, which is called Kali Yuga within the yogic traditions, because in their traditions, time goes in cycles. It doesn't go linearly. It goes in cycles. And the cycle that we're living in right here, right now, is called Kali Yuga, where basically your consciousness spawns in its lower planes. All your prana is being pulled downwards and outwards into the material world. Your consciousness grows in those lower three planes. That's its home base. That's basically where it spawns. You know, you play in a Call of Duty game, you spawn in this place, or you're playing Fortnite and you land at Tilted Towers. That's where your consciousness starts off its journey within this material world when you are born here in Kali Yuga. In other yugas, it's on different planes, but right now you have a deep, deep connection to the material. This is why a lot of people don't get into spirituality. This is why a lot of people don't walk the spiritual path, because they have no recollection, no connection to that point. I had no connection to that point. But it was through experiences that sent my prana to different planes that opened up those states of consciousness for me. You know, taking psychedelics, smoking weed. If you guys have ever taken psychedelics or smoked weed, you already know what I'm talking about, how it opens up different planes of consciousness. Well, how does it do that? This is an external source of prana that stimulates a specific center. When you smoke weed, you are specifically hitting the Vishuddhi chakra, that plane of consciousness, which is all about the intellect. This is why a lot of motherfuckers get introspective after they burn up some kush, after they roll up the za. If you're anything like me, you get deeply introspective. You get deeply meditative off that marijuana. That's an external source that is altering your plane of consciousness by injecting a exogenous form of prana. Psychedelics, where does that get you up? It matters what fucking thing you take. You take LSD, it's gonna start stimulating your ajna, your third eye. You start to see things beyond just the material, beyond just thoughts, and you're in the intermediary plane between the mind and the spirit. You start to see the psychological aspects of reality, the subconscious aspects of reality. If you've ever taken LSD, you already know what I'm talking about. The prana within that substance stimulates your third eye center. You take enough fucking mushrooms, you might get into the Sahasrara, aka the state of full spirit where you have an ego death. How is that possible? How is that one moment you were fucking thinking about what food you're gonna eat at night, and you take this substance and you're shot off into the fucking next dimension? How is that? It's because the prana within this substance, within these plant medicines, shifted your plane of consciousness. All that prana was being fed into that plane, now it, boom, activates. But you don't need psychedelics, you don't need weed, you don't need none of this shit to do this prana bending, basically. You see, you have enough prana within your system that you don't need external sources of prana. But what's happening underneath the surface, behind the scenes, is that the world around you is trying to drain you of your prana by keeping it flowing downwards and outwards into the lower planes, so you don't get enough prana to be able to feed the higher faculties, because they know if you feed your higher faculties and you let that prana flow inwards and upwards, you're going to start to get closer, or you're going to start to tap in closer and closer to the planes of consciousness that open you up to the spiritual planes of reality, the self, the Atman, where you go beyond the brain and body. And once you realize that you are something beyond the brain and body, not just listen to me talk about it, not just read a book about it, but actually feel it firsthand for yourself, understand it, not just understand it, but I'm talking about how to firsthand experience with it. That's when you start to realize that life just ain't all about survival, sex, and status. That yes, you might stimulate your senses throughout these pleasures, but that's never going to fulfill you. No matter money, cars, clothes, hoes that you go for is ever going to truly satisfy your soul. Because your soul was brought here for a specific destiny, for a specific duty, which is called your dharma. Your dharma is what's going to bring you the most fulfillment in life, and it's what's going to allow you to live a life that is natural to you, that is aligned to your whole experience on the mental, physical, and spiritual planes. When you are living in alignment to your dharma, that's when your soul, your mind, and your body are working in harmony. But right now, your brain and body are basically dominating your soul, because your prana is being flown downwards to the lower planes, which is keeping your consciousness stuck and glued into this prison of the brain and body, not realizing the spirit, not realizing the soul, not realizing in its innate duty, its dharma. This is why these ancient traditions of the East develop practices and systems that we call today as yoga. When I say yoga, I'm not just talking about fucking stretches. I'm not talking about the yoga pants that you see some girls walking around with. I'm talking about the system, the spiritual science of how you can use and alter your prana. You become a prana bender to open up different planes of consciousness. That's what yoga is all about. That's what Tantra is all about. Is by learning how to use the essence of the brain and body to the advantage of the spirit. How can you fucking do some Avatar Last Airbender shit with your own motherfucking prana to open up different planes of consciousness so you can get the pieces of the puzzle to understand, better yet, understand who it is that you are beyond the brain and body, and most importantly, what it is that you were brought here to do aside from just stimulating the senses. Because the higher you climb up the motherfucking spine that's a bar right it down, the more of these puzzle pieces that you start to accumulate that come together to paint out the picture of what your dharma is, what your destiny is, because you already know what you've been brought here to do. You just forgot it. You're stuck in what I like to call a state of spiritual amnesia, where you know what your dharma is, but you forgot it because you're stuck in a state of spiritual ignorance, spiritual darkness, spiritual amnesia. The process of self-mastery is the return back to the spirit, to the self, to understand what it is that you truly are beyond just this physical form. And in order to do that, you need to send your prana to those planes that are dormant. Imagine the spine like a fucking ladder. Each one of these planes of consciousness are like a rung. Imagine you only have 3 rungs and all the rest of them are empty. The way you bring the rung back into the equation is by sending prana to it. You know, all these rungs are quote unquote there, but you are unaware of how to actually grab onto it. You don't have missing chakras. You don't have blocked, and I'm putting quotations on that. You don't have blocked chakras. You have misaligned chakras. You have every one of them accessible to you, but your prana is being drained into 3 of the lower planes. You dig what I'm saying? Where all your focus, all your attention, all your energy is being optimized to execute the pursuits of survival, sex, and status. And look, man, there's a time and place for that shit. But if you actually want to understand your true purpose, your true destiny, and feel your fullest potential, you need every one of these chakras, every one of these planes of consciousness working in harmony with each other. Because there is not one plane that is better than the other. And each one of you guys have a different expression in that plane. Maybe, imagine you have 100% power bar of prana. Maybe dharmically, what is destined for you to send 20 to the Muladhara, 30 to this one, 40 to that one, 10 to this one, 30 to this. There is a specific balance, you know, almost like you're cooking a meal where you put 2 tablespoons of this, 3 tablespoons of that, 1 scoop of this, you know, 1 cup of that, and it comes together to form your beautiful recipe that nobody else can replicate. That is your dharma. That is your destiny. You know the exact right motherfucking, you know, equations and ratios of the recipe. Is just forgotten. In order for you to realize And remember what that recipe is, all the ratios. You must slowly but surely climb up the spine. And in order to do that, say it with me, you need that motherfucking prana. You cannot let your prana be drained subconsciously. You cannot be somebody that is basically having their prana be pickpocketed by society. Because society cannot make you a slave to your senses. They can leverage your prana against you, where you turn your own self into a slave to the senses. You know, what do they put out in front of you? Pornography, junk food, social media, all that nonsense. To make sure your prana goes downwards and outwards, that keeps you in that plane of consciousness, keeps you in the lower planes. That's what they want. They want to keep you stuck there. Why? Because it's easy to control you. It's easy to manipulate you. And it's easy to make you a cog in their machine, where you're basically a consumer of this whole system. You just keep consuming, because what happens when you're stuck as a slave to your senses? You are chasing dopamine, but dopamine gives you a temporary high. So after that high is done, you're gonna want more dopamine. You're gonna want more sex. You're gonna want more cars. You're gonna want more clothes. And that keeps you in that cycle of never escaping this system of what I like to call the hamster wheel of hedonism. You can never escape out of that and find what truly brings you joy. Because dopamine cannot replace divine nectar. And divine nectar is a state of being, a state of consciousness, a state of spiritual ecstasy that is accessed when you live in alignment to your dharma. But you first got to fucking know what your dharma is. And each one of these planes of consciousness has a poison involved within it that keeps you stuck, but also a piece of the puzzle that helps you put all this stuff together and paint the picture of remembering, this is my dharma. This is what I'm here for. This is who I am beyond the brain and body. This is the journey of self-mastery. The mountain of self-mastery is literally a metaphor for you walking up the motherfucking spine. And this is the whole essence of tantric yoga. Again, systems, sciences on how you can alter and bend your reality by altering your plane of consciousness by first learning how to leverage your prana to your own advantage. And right now, in the first aspect of tantric yoga, the first initiatory step to actually fully living in alignment to your dharma is realizing your dharma. You got to know the blueprint before you build what the fuck you're meant to build. You forgot the blueprint. So the journey up the mountain of self-mastery is to figure out and find, recover that blueprint. And on the descending part of the mountain, that is where you start building the blueprint. But right now, we're talking about the first stage of the process, which is called the right hand path, aka referred to as Dakshinachara within tantric yoga. This is the ascending path. And the right hand is all about renunciation. When I say the word renunciation, some of y'all be like, whoa, bro, I don't want to be a monk. I don't want to be a fucking nun. I don't want to be just some guy that just gives up on life. Fuck no. No, when I say renunciation, what I really mean is reclaiming back your prana. You see, you are addicted to compulsive habits that are draining your prana and pickpocketing your prana right behind your back. You know, all the different types of karmic compulsions that you have, whether it's through sex, whether it's through drugs, whether it's through alcohol, whether it's through junk food, whatever the fuck it is, that is pulling your prana downwards and siphoning it outwards and keeping your consciousness in those lower planes. So what do you do to get that prana back? All your prana is being pulled down there. Well, you shut off the leakage. You shut off the leakage of your life force energy, aka your prana, through specific practices that allow you to get it back, to reclaim it. And then on top of that, you have additional practices that allows you to send your prana to different planes. And I know this might sound woo-woo, wah-wah, like I'm literally talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I'm telling you, this is a spiritual science For all you motherfuckers that's skeptical, yoga is a science. That shit works. And trust me, I was in your same boat, in your same position, until I actually got the first-hand experience. When you practice things like semen retention and celibacy, the first part of it is to reclaim back the prana that is being siphoned downwards and outwards into sexual cravings. So when you stop the leakage of your life force, that's part one. That's where a lot of people stop though, because they don't get into tantric yoga. They don't get into this whole idea of what they're doing semen retention for, what they're doing celibacy for, what they're doing with this prana. You need the additional practices that allow you to take that saved up prana that was once being siphoned away through sexual compulsion into sending it towards that next plane to activate that, to bring back awareness to that plane of consciousness, which allows you to open your eyes up a little bit more, open a little bit more, open a little bit more. Think about it like that. Right now, you are basically having your eyes shut, walking through reality, only letting your senses kind of take over control. But as you walk through each plane of consciousness, your eyes open a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, till you're finally awake. That's why I call it the spiritual awakening. That is what happens on this right-hand path of self-mastery, where you start to renounce these different types of compulsive habits that were draining your prana, not because you think sex is bad or, pornography is evil or any of that shit. No, but it's just pulling you away from your purpose, from your destiny, from your duty, from your dharma. You need the prana to get up to the next plane. And as you walk up these next layers and these next levels of consciousness, the more and more poisons that you will have to address. Each one of these planes has a poison, but also has a medicine, has a piece of the puzzle. Think about it like you're basically collecting all the infinity stones. And as you collect all the infinity stones, you put them together, and then you get that power back. That power is the realization of what your dharma is. You get the blueprint of what's the path of reality that's going to bring you the most pleasure, bring you the most fulfillment, bring you the most natural state of existence. That's what you're yearning for, and you're trying to look for it in the material world. You're trying to look for it in more money, more cars, more clothes, more hoes, in that consumeristic cycle. But let's keep it a buck here, man. Billionaires self-delete themselves. They got everything in the world, but they still are unsatisfied within. Why is that? Because they're not living in alignment to their dharma, and they're letting their prana being pulled down into the lower planes. A lot of people will never understand these topics. But if you hear, man, you cannot waste this information. Wherever your prana flows, consciousness grows. And right now, your consciousness is growing basically a tumor in the lower planes. Each one of these planes needs to have its right amount of food that you give it, right amount of prana that you give it. But it's getting all the prana. It's scarfing everything down. And the higher planes don't have any. And that's why you're living in a lower frequency, in a lower vibration, where all you're thinking about, again, is survival, sex, and status. They have a time and place, but they're not the only things in life. Because if that was the only thing in life, I promise you, you would have incarnated here as a motherfucking animal. That's the dharma of a dog. That's what a dog is meant to do. Survive, have sex, and achieve status. You were brought here as a human being. You have a higher dharmic expression that is waiting for you to actually access, but you have to remember what that is. And in order for you to remember that what that is, you have to walk up the planes of consciousness, walk up the spine, the mountain of self-mastery. And in order for you to do that, you need the prana. That's why you stop the leakages of your life force, whether it's through lust, whether it's through, always hyper-fixating on survival, always thinking about status. All of these things are basically punctures within the pipe that causes your prana to leak downwards and outwards. Keeps doing it, keeps doing it, keeps doing it. This is where you start patching up through renunciation and the right-hand path. There are, again, practices that allow you to stop the leakage of your life force. And then once you have that going, there are practices for you to help send it up to the next planes. Through different meditative practices, through different practical practices. Meditation, pranayama, semen retention, celibacy, fasting, all the shit that we talk about over here on this channel is talking about and addressing this path of ascending yoga, the right-hand path of renunciation, dakshinachara, tantric teachings. Everything that we talk about here on this channel. Look here, man. As I'm breaking down this game, this fucking AC-130 is after my ass. But like I was saying, everything that we talk about here over on this channel, the second channel, aka the Philosopher Files, right here in the field, in the flesh, dropping all that game so you guys can make these gains, is about these topics of tantric yoga to help you prana bend, bitch. Come on, man. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? Everything that we talk about here on this channel, everything that we talk about over on the main channel. Matter of fact, bro, if you haven't tapped into the main channel yet, you are missing out, my guy. You are missing out, because like I said, man, this is my second channel. Some of y'all motherfuckers don't even know that. Some of y'all, this might be the first video that you watch of me. But this is my second channel where we do all of our content, again, out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping all that games. You guys can make these gains. You dig what the fuck I'm saying? No cuts, no edits, just straight up speaking off the dome. So if you enjoy this type of style of content where it's raw, uncut, unfiltered, authentic as it gets, like we're basically talking on a FaceTime, on a podcast, mano-a-mano, one-on-one, that's all the content that we're cooking up over here on this channel, the second channel, the Philosopher Files. But if you want to see another side of the coin where we are still discussing these different types of topics, still chopping it up about these different types of concepts when it comes to the journey of self-mastery, but from a different angle, that's what the main channel is all about, the Philosopher. Because every time you tap into a main channel video, you better be ready, because you're basically tapping into a goddamn movie. You're gonna have a cinematic experience. Because over here, again, this is unscripted. Over there, we got nice clean cuts, nice edits, the music. It's a whole experience where we're still, again, uncovering this esoteric science of self-mastery. So, hey, man, maybe you like this channel more than the main channel. Maybe you like the main channel more than this channel. Maybe you just like the best of both worlds and you want to combine them together. But, hey, you won't know it until you know it. So definitely tap in with the main channel, The Philosopher, by tapping into the link posted in the description box down below. Click that link. You'll be forwarded to our page, The Philosopher. Subscribe. Get up on some games so you ain't out here looking like a lame. You dig what I'm saying? But also, underneath the link to my main channel that you'll find in the description box is a link to my Instagram. If you ever want to talk about these different types of topics, bro, chop it up about these different types of concepts, shoot your boy a shot, shoot me a DM, slide in the DMs. Not like that, though. Pause. I don't roll like that. But don't be shy. Connect with your boy on the Instagram page. Follow me over there. Get up on some game for the other type of content that we're cooking up over on that platform. But again, description box down below, main channel, The Philosopher. Subscribe, get up on game, and my Instagram. Connect with me over there, description box. Make sure you go run it up, my boy. But again, like I was saying, all the stuff that we talk about here on this channel, the main channel, the private Patreon community. Matter of fact, we got to take a quick pause right here, right now, because I got to give a shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Look, bro, most people have already clicked off this video. Most people cannot listen to me talk about these deeper concepts, and most people got triggered by the way I talk. Oh man, this guy's supposed to be spiritual and he's cussing, blah, 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 some nerd shit. But you still here, motherfucker. And why is that? Why is that? Well, in my eyes, you are what I like to call a spiritual savage. A spiritual savage, not just some new age spiritual wannabe. No, you about this life of self-mastery. You resonate with the motherfucking message. You are ready to realize your dharma. You're ready to start walking this right-hand path of renunciation. Start bending that motherfucking prana so you can alter your states of consciousness. You understand how prana flows in a way that causes your consciousness to grow. You about this life. You're a true spiritual aspirant. You're a devotee of this journey. And if that's the case, if you're one of those motherfuckers, and I'm guessing that you're a real savage, a spiritual savage, because you would have already clicked off this video, I'm going to need you to do me a quick favor right here, right now. Just a quick favor. Find the closest mirror to you, bro. I don't care if it's in your bathroom. I don't care if it's in the selfie camera of your phone. I don't care if it's in somebody else's car window. Stare into that car window, look into the mirror, make them uncomfortable, do what you got to do, and take a good, hard look in that mirror for me, my boy. Come on now, I'll wait. I can wait all day. Come on. Get a nice click-clack Kodak moment going for you. Really analyze the man that's staring right into your eyes and staring right into your soul when you look into that mirror. Let it marinate into your motherfucking mind. Let it sink into your psyche. Because I need you. As the AC-130 goes over my head again, I need you to realize that you're doing that man that's staring right into your eyes and staring right into your soul when you look into that mirror. You're doing him, not me. That motherfucker a huge disfavor by not joining up into the private Patreon community yet if you consider yourself a true spiritual savage and someone serious about this path of self-mastery. Because I'm telling you, man, if you enjoy the content that we're cooking up over here on this channel, if you enjoy the content that we're cooking up over on the main channel, I'm telling you, your mind is going to be blown to bits with the type of content that we're cooking up over on the private Patreon community. I'm talking about exclusive videos, a treasure trove of exclusive videos, breaking down the essence, the esoteric science of self-mastery to a level that you've never seen. Matter of fact, you ain't gonna find it on this channel, on the main channel, or anywhere else on the internet, because this is some real deal game, real deal sauce for your motherfucking brain to help you elevate on every single plane of consciousness. You dig what I'm saying? So look, bro, not only do you get access to all these exclusive videos by joining up as a member of the private Patreon community, but also you'll get access to all of our full guides, our in-depth occult lectures, our digital libraries, and most importantly, an invitation to the Philosopher's Circle. Yes, sir, you heard me right. The motherfucking Philosopher's Circle, not the Philosopher's Circle, the Philosopher's Circle, aka our private inner circle group, where you'll be invited into our private group chat where you'll be surrounded with like-minded men who are also on this path of self-mastery, who are like-minded spiritual savages who are walking side by side with you up the mountain of self-mastery, who understand that wherever prana flows, consciousness grows, and they are learning the practice to not only stop the leakage of their life force, but actually leverage their life force up to the higher planes to activate those dormant states to again get closer and closer to realizing their dharma and their destiny. If you want to be surrounded with individuals like that are going to hold you accountable along this journey, that want to see you elevate, and most importantly, want to see you liberate, I'm telling you, man, the Philosopher's Circle is the place for you, my guy, because this ain't just some random group chat. This is a brotherhood where we tap in with each other on bi-weekly mastermind live calls as well. Yes, sir, you heard me right. A brotherhood where we tap in with each other every single other week, aka bi-weekly mastermind live calls. We hop on a live call with me as well as this community of like-minded men who are walking up the mountain of self-mastery, so you can get personalized guidance. We can talk about these different types of topics. We can chop it up at these different types of discussions. This is what it's all about. If you want to be surrounded with a brotherhood that is pushing you and wants to see you elevate on every plane of consciousness to inevitably liberate your soul, this is the place for you, my guy. I can 100% guarantee that shit. The Philosopher's Circle is for you, because you've already heard the saying that you are the sum of the 5 people that you're hanging out most with. That's 100% fact. No cap in that rap. So if you're hanging around with 5 people that have their prana being siphoned downwards and outwards, that's keeping their consciousness stuck in the lower planes, you're going to be the 6th motherfucker in that same equation, in that same situation. But if you're actually striving towards elevating your planes of consciousness, towards actually realizing your dharma, you got to be surrounded with other motherfuckers, other savages that are on that same path as well, that are on that same wavelength as well. So again, man, I'm telling you, the Philosopher's Circle is the place for you, my guy. But if you need any more information about the Philosopher's Circle and the private Patreon community as a whole, check out the link posted in the pinned comment of this video, not the description box. I'm talking about the pinned comment of this video. Just scroll in the comment section. It's the first comment pinned up by me. Click that link, you'll be forwarded to our page, and from there you can join up as a member of the private Patreon community, as well as check out the other links to the other services I provide, such as application forms for my personalized coaching program. Because if you're someone who's truly serious about this path of self-mastery and actually learning how to shift where your prana is going, where your prana is flowing, to make sure that your consciousness is growing towards the path of your dharma, you're ready and you're serious about this journey of dissolving your karmas, dissolving the ties that is keeping your prana flowing downwards and outwards, and ready to actually redirect it inwards and upwards, this is the coaching program for you. Because what we are going to do is curate a specific personalized approach for you specifically, using the esoteric science of self-mastery to walk up this mountain, realizing what are those drains, what are those things that are pulling your consciousness downwards and holding you back from actually realizing and reaching your highest potential in every plane, in every category of life. There are specific practices, again, to stop the leakage, and there's specific practices to leverage that prana to open up the next plane. So if you're ready to take your life to the next level, to ascend and evolve, I'm telling you, man, this is the coaching program for you. But if you have any more questions about that, again, shoot your boy an application and we'll see if your entry meets the qualifications and criteria for this coaching program. Again, if you're ready to dissolve those karmas and discover your dharma, this is the place for you. Dissolve those things that are holding you back, the degenerate attachments that you've created, that society wants to keep you stuck in, that makes you drift further and further away from ever realizing what's going to bring you true fulfillment in life. If you're ready to break free from that, I'm telling you, man, this is the program for you. But if you just want to book a one-time call with your boy, discuss anything that you're dealing with to help you get back on the right track towards, again, dissolving those motherfucking karmas to discover your dharma, that we got our consultation booking call linked to there as well. You can shoot your boy a shot. You can book a call right there too as well. We can tap in, chop it up, and again, see where you need to clean up some things within your consciousness, within your karmas, to get you back on the path towards your dharma. I'm gonna take a quick pause right here because these motherfuckers are crazy. Always spin around me. But like I was saying, man, all that good stuff is posted in the pinned comment of this video. Click that link, you'll be forwarded to our page, and from there you can pick and choose whether it's joining up into the Philosopher's Circle, whether it's applying to the coaching program or booking a consultation call, whatever it is, you can pick and choose which one of these services best suits you. Again, pin comment this video, make sure you go run it up, my boy, for anyone who's truly ready to ascend and evolve. But like I was saying, all this stuff that we talk about here on this channel, over on the main channel, especially on the private Patreon community, and especially within my personalized coaching program, is this science of self-mastery, the right-hand path of renunciation, Dakshinachara, ascending yoga, whatever the fuck you want to term it, which is all about, again, reclaiming back your prana, reclaiming back your power through these practices, in order to allow that prana to ascend to the next planes and open up that next piece of the puzzle that gets you closer and closer and closer to your dharma. Because like I was saying, man, you already know your dharma. You don't gotta find it. You just have to remember it. You have to dissolve the karmas. And when I say karmas, I'm not just saying, you do good things will happen to you. You do bad things will happen to you. I'm talking about karmas in a sense where these are the compulsive ties that is keeping your consciousness and your prana dragged downwards, stuck. The more and more that you engage in survival, sex, and status, the more dependent you become on it, the more karmic influence it has over you. You become a slave to it. It basically starts to rust your consciousness and cements your consciousness into that plane. That is the karmic ties. And in order for you to actually realize your dharma, you must dissolve those karmas. You see, in the yogic traditions, this is done through the process of accumulating tapas. Tapas is a word that literally means heat, but a metaphysical form of heat that is generated through austerities, through practices of renunciation. Because now you got the prana back in your power, and that prana burns off those karmic ties. So through celibacy, through semen retention, fasting, all these different types of things that we talk about, again, here on this channel, the main channel, private Patreon community, coaching program, all that shit are spiritual practices, or called sadhanas, that generate tapas, that dissolve those karmic ties and allows your consciousness to rise. That's a bar, write it down. It dissolves those karmic ties that allows your consciousness to rise. That's why I always say this is the process of dissolving your karmas to discover your dharma. Your dharma is already there. I always bring up this analogy. Your dharma is like the sun. It's always out. Right now it feels beautiful. A couple days ago, super cloudy in the morning. Super cloudy. I couldn't see a fucking thing. I knew the sun was there though. I knew the sun was there. It was just covered up by clouds. I wasn't sitting out there, oh man, where's the sun? And you shouldn't be out there, oh man, where's my dharma? It's already within you. Again, it is residing in that state when you take all these different pieces of the puzzle within these planes of consciousness and put it together to paint out that picture of what your Dharma is. But in order for you to do that, you must, just like the sun, remove the clouds that's blocking it. You must remove not clouds in this case, but karmas to discover your Dharma. And this is what this whole process is about. Renunciation is about dissolving your karmas to discover your Dharma, because now once that karma is gone, that pull of your prana is no longer being dragged downwards. Now you have the ability. You have the prana in your hands. Now it's learning how to shoot other practices in this equation to allow you to raise that prana up to the next planes. Do you see what I'm saying? That's a bar, write it down. Or are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? This is the whole process of the path of self-mastery. Is to use, first, again, stop the leakage of your life force, but then use that prana to open up the next planes of consciousness. Because each one of these planes holds a piece of the puzzle, holds one of those infinity stones that come together to paint out your Dharma. I don't know what your Dharma is. Your dad doesn't, your mom doesn't, nobody in the world knows it but you. But what I do know for damn sure is how to dissolve those karmas. And like we just said with the sun, you don't gotta look for a sun, you just gotta fucking move the clouds out of the way. You don't gotta fucking look for your Dharma. All you gotta do is dissolve those karmas. And this is what this science of self-mastery is all about. And look, man, I'm not making this shit up. I'm not that smart. I promise you I'm not that smart. My Dharma and my destiny for the time being is to revive this ancient knowledge, revive this ancient science, revive this ancient wisdom that has been laid down already in the past by the ascended masters of the Aryan traditions. They have laid down the blueprint of how mankind can realign himself back with the divine, back with his Dharma, through this process of Dakshinachara, of self-mastery. All I'm doing is breaking this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all to make it make sense for the modern day man like you, like me. Have it in a way where it's more practical, make it more applicable. Again, I'm not making this shit up. All I'm doing is reviving the knowledge. That is my Dharma. My Dharma, what makes me fulfilled is bringing this Dharma back into the modern day world. My Dharma is making sure that you, as a spiritual savage, get this knowledge so you can apply it into your life and you can live in alignment to your Dharma. That is my Dharma, to make sure that you are following your Dharma. I'm not making this shit up. I'm bringing it back. I'm reviving this shit back into the modern day world. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 9, there is nothing new under the sun. Everything that I said has already been said and done. So if you don't believe me, go to the ancient texts. Go to these ancient teachings. Go find it out for yourself. But if you trust me, because I'm doing all this studying, I'm doing all this work and learning how to break it down for y'all, you got to realize this one thing. And it's the fact that you're still here. Most people, again, have already clicked off this video. Most people cannot listen to a video for this long. I always say this to people that watch this channel, in specific, the second channel, aka the Philosopher Files, right here in the field, in the flesh, dropping y'all that game so you guys can make these games. You dig what the fuck I'm saying? No cuts, no edits, just straight up speaking off the dome. You guys are in the 1 percentile of the population that is not suffering from brain rot. Majority of the masses of society, the matrix, are stuck in brain rot. They can't watch a video for this long. And you add on top of that, the density of the information that we break down over here, we discuss about over here, is going right over their heads. You're in the 1 percentile of the population that is spiritually and psychologically advanced to actually get this message of Dharma, to understand it. You resonate with this message or you would have already clicked off by now. I promise you. I promise you. I am not that entertaining and I'm not that good looking for y'all to sit up here and watch me yap for 54 minutes straight. For damn near an hour straight. I know I'm entertaining and I know I look good, but not that good. I'm not that entertaining. The reason why you're here is not because of me. It's because you resonate with the message. The Dharma is speaking through me and to you. Through me to the screen and to you. I'm just a conduit. I'm just a source for this knowledge to flow to you, to the savages. Some people can't listen to me talk. They get too triggered. But some of you guys, maybe the way that I break it down is the only way that finally clicks for your consciousness. But again, the most important thing is that you resonate with the message. And that is a clear sign that you are ready to walk this right-hand path. You are ready to walk up the mountain of self-mastery. You are ready to actually realize your Dharma. If that was not the case, again, you would already clicked off by now. I don't know how, I don't know why. Maybe some of the past lives that you've had, you've dissolved the karmas that put you in a proper position in this incarnation to actually receive this information. That's a bar, write it down. Some better be clipping this whole video because there's a bunch of gems. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's the case, but it don't matter. It is a clear sign that this incarnation is a possible way for you to punch in your one-way ticket to spiritual liberation. Or you would have already clicked off this video. You wouldn't have enjoyed this information. It would have not made sense to you. It would not resonate. You are listening to this because you are ready to walk up the mountain. You are ready to shift where your prana flows to actually alter where your consciousness grows. To get closer and closer and closer to realizing who you truly are beyond the brain and body and what it is that you're brought here to do aside from just stimulating the senses. There is a science to it, and this is what I'm breaking down. But just understanding this shit doesn't mean shit. It's not enough to understand it. You can watch my next video, my next video, my next video, keep on binging it, go for it, bro. But it's not gonna make sense to you until you actually apply this wisdom. You need to turn that, oh, all right, technical difficulties, a fucking tripod got thrown over, but like I was saying, it's not enough to understand this information. I need you to understand this knowledge. And the only way you go from understanding, knowledge, to understanding, or gnosis is knowledge that is from within, is through first-hand experience. I can't walk up the mountain of self-mastery with you. I can help guide you along that journey, but I'm walking up my own mountain. Your mountain is different than mine. My mountain is different than yours. It's the same mountain, but we're walking up in a different way. All the people in the community in the philosopher's circle are walking up the same mountain, but you might start off on this side, I might start on this side, I might take this route, you might take that route. But the same universal principles apply when it comes to the tools you need to walk up this mountain. I can't do it for you, you gotta do it yourself, motherfucker. This is why you gotta be a savage to walk the spiritual path. This ain't fucking sunshines and rainbows. This is a process of reclaiming back your power, which requires sacrifice, which requires renunciation, and which requires you to be a motherfucking savage because you're going against the grain of what everybody has sold and told you about what life is all about who you are. You are going against the grain of that because most people are meant to be slaves, meant to be part of the matrix, meant to be cogs in the machine. They are not in this incarnation yet to find out their dharma. You, if you made it this far into the video, that's a whole nother case. You are ready for that shit. But you can't just waste this incarnation on spiritual degeneration. You can't just keep on doing the same bullshit over and over and over and over again, even though you know this knowledge now. You need to apply the wisdom. You need to make sure that this incarnation is your chance to punch in your one-way ticket to spiritual liberation. And by no means this is an easy task, but there is a science to it. And this science breaks it down. All you got to do is apply this knowledge, apply this wisdom. Because again, you would already click off this video if you are not ready to walk that path. You're here for a reason. And it's not because of me. Again, focus on the message, my bad, not the messenger. Wherever your prana flows, consciousness grows. If you learn how to stop the leakage of your prana, of your life force, into the lower planes and actually redirect it to the higher planes that are malnourished, your consciousness will grow. And as it grows continually over time, it's going to start flowing towards realizing its dharma. And that's the only thing that matters, man. If you want to live a life that is natural to you, that is what you're destined to do, your dharma is the blueprint, and then that is waiting for you at the top of the mountain when you got all these infinity stones. Then the left hand The descending path is about how do you build off that blueprint. But that's a topic for another day. Right now, we're focusing on the right hand. We got to know what we're building before we start building. We got to have the blueprint before we start doing that. And the way you actually recover that blueprint, remember that Dharma, is by walking this right hand path of self-mastery, by altering the flow of your prana to actually access the different planes of consciousness that hold pieces of the puzzle towards painting out the picture of your true purpose. This is not an easy path, and it's not for everyone, but it's for you, motherfucker. I'm making my way up that mountain, and I'm guiding others along the way. I might be 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. This is why I got all this content on this channel, on the main channel, again, on the private Patreon community, my personalized coaching program, my consultation calls, link in the pinned comments video, main channel, and Instagram in the description box. All that good stuff, man. You have all the tools that you need to succeed. And for those, again, who are ready to ascend and evolve, that's what we got the coaching program for. That's what we got the community for, which goes even more depth and more in detail to all these topics. But there is no excuse why you can't produce, why you can't make sure that this incarnation is your one-way ticket to punch in your way to spiritual liberation. Your prana holds the power, holds the potential towards accessing these different planes of consciousness. And your consciousness, these different planes, holds a piece of the puzzle that paint out your dharma. Focus on your prana, open up the different planes, and you'll get the piece of the puzzle towards remembering what that dharma is, what that destiny is. If you truly want to be fulfilled in life, this is the only way to it. I'm not trying to sound dogmatic, but this is the only way to it. It's to live a life that is dharmic to you, that is destined to you, that is aligned to your mind, body, and soul. And the way you go about that is to walk in, again, this right-hand path of self-mastery. And what I'm doing is uncovering the science, breaking it down for y'all. Yeah, I can't make it up there in the mountain for you, but I can break down the tools you need, the principles you need to make it up that bitch. You gotta finally grab your nutsack and say enough is enough. I'm done living this cycle of chasing dopamine. I want some divine nectar. I want my dharma. Well, if you want it, you gotta be savage, because it's gonna require a lot out of you. But if you truly want fulfillment, this is the price that must be paid as you walk the spiritual path. It's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping you out at games so you guys can make these gains. I'm out here. Peace.